You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast, brought to you by NBA 2K24. Myself, Mamuzio, alongside me as always, the one, the only Mr. BJ Armstrong. BJ, how you been, brother?
Real name, no gimmicks. Mo, it's all good. It's all good. The holidays is upon us. We're here. We're celebrating. I got the full house. I got all of the kids back.
Blessed.
Yes. So it's all good. And happy holidays to everyone. And now let's talk a little basketball.
Yeah, you got the full house. I've got the empty house. It's just me and the NBA. That's it. That's it. That's how we live in. That's how we live in. Wholesome. But, you know, we just had the news that the Knicks have applied for a disabled player exception, which is where a team can get more money, as Mitchell Robinson will reportedly miss the rest of the season, which is a huge blow for the New York Knicks and a huge blow for Mitchell Robinson, because in my opinion, he was putting together a run for Defensive Player of the Year with what he was doing and the way he was playing. So on today's episode, BJ, 25 games in, we previewed it a little bit yesterday. We're going to have some super early awards. Who's leading the races? So I think that's a good place to jump off right now with Defensive Player of the Year. Who is the Defensive Player of the Year so far this season?
Well, you know, what comes to mind to me immediately is the stellar play and the consistent play of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that is led by none other than Rudy Gobert and what he's been able to do this year on the defensive end. You know, you can talk about Caruso, you could talk about, I thought Mitchell Robinson was, he was beginning to really, you could see his impact, especially on the defensive end. However, if you were to ask me today, Rudy Gobert to me stands out of what he has done for his team. They've been 1 and 2, seems like on the top of the West for the entire season for a majority of that time. And it's all started with Rudy Gobert. Now, there was a lot of talk last year about that trade and what they gave up from them. But I think you can see when they are healthy what this team could become. And, one of the things that really stood out to me in these first 25 games is when you have a player that dominates at a position, suddenly the rest of the league takes notice and they know they have to counter that. And we lived in the small ball era with the Warriors, and that's well documented in what they were able to do. I've been saying this for a number of years, but it's finally come to the forefront. When one of these bigs was able to play in the small ball era, like Jokic, you can't play small ball versus him.
Mm-hmm.
Now him and Joel Embiid, they're very capable of playing against small ball. He will put up historical numbers if you play small ball versus him.
Mm-hmm. He's going to eat good.
He eats anyway, but if you play small ball versus him,
that's a buffet. That's a buffet.
Okay. And I think the rest of the league, in particular, Rudy Gobert and Karl Towns, they owe the way the game is being played now because of Jokic. Because
team is loading up on bigs.
Teams are loading up on bigs. And the reason I say that, Mo, is if you watch the NBA now, I've seen more mid-range shots in the first 25 games than I can remember seeing in a long time. Maybe in about 10 years or so. Because teams were just shooting threes, getting to, trying to get to the basket or get to the free throw line. Now, Mo, you're seeing teams do things I haven't seen in a long time, which is curls to mid-range shots. And they're doing it. They normally were just doing it in the postseason, in the playoffs, but now they're doing it in the regular season. And that is because of Jokic.
And interestingly, just to add to what you're saying, the general manager of the Timberwolves who put this team together, Tim Connolly, used to be the general manager of the Denver Nuggets, the Jokic's team.
So Jokic and Embiid in particular, right? Those guys have been the last 3 MVPs. They've changed the mindset because if Embiid wins it, you're going to have to load up on how to defend these bigs. Everyone has already come to this conclusion. Jokic is going to be here. Mm-hmm. And if you can't, and what we know is, I don't care what kind of small ball you play, you can't play small ball versus him. So I think what you're seeing with the Rudy Gobert and Karl Towns, they're the first team that was already in place. And you made a really good point, Mo. I didn't even think about it, but they were the first team to play. Now, obviously, you got to be able to adapt. Jokic can play big and he can play small. I don't know if that is the case with the Minnesota Timberwolves. It is yet to be proven. However, you could see, Mo, the effect that they're having on the game and the way it's played, and give them credit for they are, in my opinion, they're ahead of the curve now, because that's the thing that really stood out to me in the first 25
And
games.
we see Milwaukee playing with the double bigs as well with Brook Lopez and Giannis. But, mentioning Giannis, mentioning Embiid and Jokic, those are MVP caliber players. We're going to talk about the MVP, but just on Defensive Player of the Year, Anthony Davis is also a name that I think should be in consideration.
Yes, I agree with that.
He's played some unbelievable defense so far, and his versatility and everything he does on that side of the floor has been fantastic. And he's been largely on the court, without missing too many games. So
right.
Shout out to Anthony Davis. There's a whole bunch of guys. Like I said, it's early in the season, so we got a lot more time and a lot more basketball to play. But speaking of MVP, BJ, who is your MVP right now?
Woo! Mo, I don't want to bail out on you, but it's really, I don't think there's any one player that is just really, Anthony Edwards, for instance. I thought he had a run. Our guy there in Boston. You got to talk a little bit about.
There's lots of names. You got to talk about Luka Doncic. You got to talk about Giannis. But do you know who, for me?
Yeah.
I would give my vote to.
What you say, Anthony Davis?
No, BJ, you know me better than that. Come on.
Who would you say?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Shai is in there.
OKC Thunder are second in the West. No one expected them to be this good. He's putting up 30.7 points, 5.7 boards, 6.4 assists, and 2.8 steals per game.
Yeah, I can't argue with that, Mo. I mean,
I'm not saying he will win MVP.
Right.
I'm just saying, tell me why he shouldn't be considered.
There are a number of players. Okay, it's like everyone is all Jokic, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, Shai Alexander. Everyone's in this race. Okay. However, we're all waiting here. After one game, talking about our guy down in Memphis, Ja Morant. What a game. What a game.
Man, I was so mad that we recorded that show before the games because the first quarter was very slow for him, and then we started taping. And then he had a crazy second half and a game winner. And then we had an all-time Celtics meltdown, which I'm actually very glad we didn't talk about because I was mad. I turned my phone off last night just in case you were going to ring me. Yeah, so we ain't going to talk about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, he had a slow, and I was like, oh, okay, that's about right. He's coming back, And then the second half, wow, he showed you why he is that level of talent. So,
but you could see that it was taking its toll. I wouldn't expect him to do that every night until he gets his wind back under him. But one player I've not mentioned here in MVP who's been putting up insane numbers is Joel Embiid. Because he puts up crazy numbers. He's a great player. I'm not taking anything away from him. But man, the free throws and the foul baiting and the flopping, I just couldn't give an MVP award to a player that plays the game like that. It makes me sick. He had what did he have? Like 40, 50 points against the Timberwolves just now. Right. And if you look at the foul calls, especially early in the game, Gobert Towns picked up fouls early in the game on nothing calls. Right. And I'm like, bro, come on, man. You're way too big to be flopping around like this.
Right.
So you can call me a hater, you can call me what you want, but I ain't giving an MVP to Embiid. I don't care. He had that 5-game stretch where he averaged near 50 points, 2 games against the Wizards and the Hornets and the Pistons. Well done. I ain't going there with that. No. I don't want to see him with the MVP. I ain't gonna lie. I'm just keeping it 100 with you, B.
You say you gonna keep it 100? Okay.
I'll keep it all the way at 100. I'll keep it 99 plus 1. Come on. Rookie of the year. A lot of people thought this would be a 2-horse race, and as great as Jamie Hackers has played for Miami, it has been a 2-horse race with Wemby and Chet. Who has the edge so far this season?
Listen, I love what Chet is doing. Chet is playing terrific basketball. However, this kid Wembanyama, He's to me, he's the rookie of the year. Now,
I
I'm
think
not,
it separates people who watch the games from people who look at the records and the box scores and whatnot, because the Spurs have lost a bunch of games. But I watch the Spurs games and I get so mad. The amount of times he's open for easy dunks, he's open in the paint, he's got a mismatch, and they just don't get the ball to him, especially late in games. It's been driving me crazy. And I just feel like if they switch situations, right? And I'm not
what's the
taking
situation?
anything away from Chet. If they switch teams, Chet and Wemby switch teams,
Oh,
OKC wouldn't be the second
you
seed. They'd be the runaway first seed in the West.
Yeah, well,
and that's with all respect to Chet Holmgren.
Yes, no. Chet is a phenomenal player. Probably any other year, he's probably rookie of the year. However, when you watch this kid Wembanyama, and you are right, Mo, they are losing, but you see, I mean, Mo, when they upgrade their point guard position just with one player who can play downhill, it's over. Mo, it's over. Okay, and I get the experiment, what they're doing, and I get it. You're right. You're developing the players. You're developing to see such and such and such and such and all the things they're doing down there. I get it. Like I was just down in Orlando and I spent time with the entire staff down of San Antonio, by the way. I would just happen to see those guys, and they were kind enough to let me come into one of their meetings, right? And when I say one of their meetings, they were just finishing up and I would just happen to be going by. And so I had a chance to say hello to everyone. Mo, they have, I mean, that kid is a star. And you better beat him now, Mo. If you're going to beat San Antonio, I'm telling everyone, beat them now, because Mo, once they start putting the other four players around them, what they're going to do in their bench, Mo, they're going to be sensational. And I think the kid Wembanyama is, wow. If he was playing with Shea Alexander, I don't even think it would be fair. Right now, Mo, and I can say that right now.
And like, to be fair to Chet, though, he had that game. He had like those 2 games where he blocked 15 shots in 2 nights. He had a couple 30 pieces. Like, he's been playing crazy basketball.
Chet has been unbelievable. That's what I'm saying. Like, Chet is unbelievable. I mean, listen, I'm not taking anything away from Chet. Chet is unbelievable. I am a huge Chet fan. I love what he does. I love what he plays. The kid, and he plays winning basketball. Okay, but sometime, Mo, you'll just see something that you haven't seen before. That's Wembanyama. You just haven't. When you watch him, you're watching something. You say, "I'm just going to watch because he's going to do something that we've never seen before." And that game he had against the Lakers just the other was it last week, I believe.
Yep. And
I mean, Mo, like Anthony Davis, you better beat up on him right now because when he puts on 10 extra pounds, there's nothing we're going to be able to do with him. I mean, he is really that good. So,
and it's also AD was using a lot of like kind of veteran moves down low in the post with those face ups. And once Wemby has that experience, good luck.
You better beat him now. Beat him now.
Who is the most improved player for you this season?
Most improved.
Because before the season, I said it would be Tyrese Maxey. And it's been Tyrese Maxey. But there's a lot of guys. I think Scotty Barnes has done a great job improving.
I would say Halliburton. I would say Halliburton has probably been, he's been the player
offensively.
Yeah, well,
defensively, there's a long way to improve.
But he has been a player. I mean, he's shown flashes, Mo, where he's jumped into the superstar realm. So he's made a jump. And if a player that's really stood out to me this year, it's been Halliburton. You can say Tyrese Maxey, but I would say
Şengün as well deserves some love.
Yes,
you know who's really impressed me? Not the whole season, but just recently. Since the day I came on here and had a rant about the Chicago Bulls, and I said Patrick Williams ain't turning into a star.
Man, I like
ain't turning into a star. Kobe White has been balling out ever since that episode. He's been putting up damn near 25 a night ever since that episode. He's been playing fantastic basketball. So I wanted to shout him out as well.
Shout out to the Chicago Bulls. They're playing I don't know what's going on there. You take a player out like Zach LaVine and, he's an all-star and clearly we know he's very talented, but they're better as a team. It's one of the wildest things. You're like,
when you take out a player of that magnitude, the other guys get more touches, they get more reps. They kind of like, think about it. You take Zach LaVine out the lineup. Now Kobe White is getting more shots than he would if Zach LaVine was there taking those shots, and he's getting more touches than he would if Zach LaVine was taking those touches. So
Yes.
it gives those guys opportunities to shine a little bit. But we all know how much depth is important in making a championship run. So who is the sixth man of the year for you so far?
Sixth man of the year.
I got some names I can float for you.
Hey, give me some names. Give me some names.
Emmanuel Quickley of the Knicks.
Yeah.
Cole Anthony of the Magic. Nas Reed. Tim Hardaway Jr. for Dallas before Kyrie's injury coming off that bench. For me, I think Austin Reeves will probably end up winning this award.
Austin Reeves has been fascinating.
Especially
I'm gonna say
he went from being a starter to accepting that bench.
Who won it last year? Did Quickly win it last year or no?
Who won it? Was it Brogdon who won it last year?
I think it was Brogdon. I'm going to say Emmanuel Quickly. I'm going to say Quickly. When he came to mind, when you initially asked the question, I'm going to say Quickly. Quickly has. I'm going to give him for his body of work. Like he's been like he's been an extended starter to me for like the last 2 or 3 years now. I don't even look at him as a bench player. I look at him as an extended starter.
Well, that's what happens to all the great six men.
Yeah. He looks like it.
Like Manu Ginobili, how many six man of the years did he win? But everyone knew he was a starting player.
Yeah, I think he's mastered that art. So I'm going to say Quickly because I don't want to take it for granted what he's doing because he's really settled into that role. And most players want to start, but Quickly has figured out his role on this team, and I think he will, if he ever gets to free agency, I think he will be highly, highly pursued by other teams in the league.
Coach of the year, BJ. Who's been the best coach so far? Anyone except for Joe Mazzulla.
Well, you got to say Minnesota.
Yep, Chris Finch.
Chris Finch up there.
I think
lately who I've been, who's really come to mind for me.
Can I guess?
Yes.
The guy I'm talking about, Ty Lue of the Clippers. Getting that experiment to work and everyone to mesh and everyone to buy in. Yes, Russ coming off the bench now after being a starter.
Hey.
And especially how bad that started. And then he's managed to figure things out with them.
I can't wait to see Ty Lue after the season, Coach Ty Lue. Because you talking about having to pivot quickly. But you know who else?
Jamal Mosley.
Jamal Mosley, to me, for sure.
Is that who you were going to say?
No. You know what I was going to say? Billy Donovan.
Oh. I mean, to win Coach of the Year, you got to be better than 11th.
Hey, like I said, they looked like they were just about ready, Bo.
They have the players only meeting down there in Chicago.
Yeah, Bo, like this will be a complete. They were ready to explode. Now, Mo, like your best player goes out, players only meeting. It looks like it's over. And Mo, you know what? Like tonight, they had a nice win. They beat the Lakers. Like Mo, they are really.
They were like what 5-14, and now they went 7-3 in their last 10 games.
The games. I mean, Mo, that to me is a amazing turnaround. Okay, I think right now Jamal Mosley, just because it is Rick Carlisle, certainly has done a terrific job.
Yeah, but you can't be Coach of the Year with the worst defense in the NBA.
Yes, but he's
offensively, if there was an offensive Coach of the Year, 100%.
But I would say overall right now, I would say Jamal Mosley
and the Orlando Magic.
That's it right now. I would say that. I mean, they've done a terrific job.
Yeah, they've been a big surprise as well. Speaking of that, BJ, what has been your biggest surprise of the season, 25 games in?
Well, my biggest surprise is no one has separated themselves as the best team in the league. That's been like.
But which player or team has been the biggest surprise for you?
Which player has been the biggest surprise?
And it could be because they're better or it could be because they're worse than what we were expecting before the season began.
Well, Tyrese Halliburton has been a major surprise for me. Not because I didn't think he was good. It was just because I didn't see him been this impactful to the bottom line. I mean, Mo, offensively, he's really, really good. I mean, he pushes the pace, he passes the ball, he passes over the top of the defense. and he can run a team. And, I saw that young man play in college. I've always liked him, but I didn't see this. Okay. I didn't. I don't know if anyone else said they saw this. I didn't see it. So he's been probably the biggest surprise for me, is saying, okay, here's a star player, because he's clearly Mo Pretty. He's really good. The team that's been, Mo, I look at the Orlando Magic, and it's another one. Mo, one time I looked in the standings and they were like in second place.
They were second place, yeah. And they could be back there. Like, it's a close one.
The team that's been really disappointing to me, because I had expectations with this team, has been the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, but that's injuries has taken a big toll on that.
Injuries are part of the game, and things happen, whether
Do you know
injuries or what have you.
The biggest disappointment for me, and you ain't gonna like this one.
What was that?
Your Detroit Pistons.
Yeah,
because in the offseason, we were talking about, man, Cage coming back. Jalen Duren's got a year under his belt. Osar Thompson's going to be really good. Jaden Ivey had a great end to his rookie year, and they ain't managed to win more than 2 games.
2 games. Yeah.
More than 2 games. Like, it's mind blowing. They're 2-25.
Yeah, it's
mind blowing to me.
Yeah, it really is. I didn't expect them to be where they currently are. I didn't expect that.
No, but I expected at least 5 wins in their first 25 games.
Yeah, I mean, it's
at least
it's been painful to watch my Pistons. As you know, I'm a Pistons fan through and through, so it's been painful to watch. But I wasn't expecting them to be like Orlando or whatever. But I didn't expect this either. But the Orlando Magic, well, I've been like, wow, Jamal Mosley, this kid, Paulo Banchero, the Wagner brothers, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs. I mean, these guys have really put together a really nice, quarter of the season thus far. And I think they're going to be a problem. I think those guys have solidified themselves of saying they're core pieces. I think you got to commit to those guys. And remember, Markelle Fultz hasn't even been playing. Okay. I really like what they're doing down there. They're playing well at home. They're establishing that, they're going to be a problem, and they're only going to get better. So, but the Magic have been the surprise team for me.
Do you know what else is only going to get better?
Who's this?
The Hoop Genius podcast.
Absolutely.
So make sure that you subscribe to the show right now. YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Christmas is coming up. If you want to give us a Christmas gift, then you can leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a nice review in the Apple Podcast app or the Spotify app, and that would be beautiful. Just leave us that 5 stars. Let us know, let the people know when they're browsing podcasts why they should come and rock with us and join the family over here that we're building, because we're going to get bigger and better. 2024 is around the corner.
Woo! 2024. How about that?
PJ, you know what's crazy? Yesterday's episode was our 400th episode, and we didn't even notice.
Wow.
400
and counting. You know 400.
What? 400.
You're a good man, Mo. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you, my brother.
Let's get 400 more. And we appreciate you for listening.
Facts. That's the most important part. We appreciate all of you guys. So make sure you're subscribed, locked in, tell your friends to come and rock with us too. And until next time, get buckets.